moving around.
All right, all right, all right, all right. I'm here with JDev Karande. JDev, just wanted to say thanks for taking the podcast, taking the interview. I'm sure you got a wealth of knowledge for me and for the listeners as well. Just tell us a little bit more about you, where you're at, what you do, and a little bit about your journey. So go ahead and tell us about that.
All right. Well, first of all, Joseph, appreciate you having me on here. Thank you for this opportunity. Um, a little bit about me and my journey. Okay. Um, I am I'm someone who's extremely passionate about connecting people. I look at entrepreneurship as a journey and a way of life. It is not a job. It is not something it of except for what we do from a value creation standpoint. It is constantly moving throughout this world, looking for ways to add value to others, whether it's from the smallest thing and filling the gap to actually identifying a big problem and you know feeling that there's got to be a way to go solve it, and then devoting myself to it. And so I think a lot of it has to do with just this sort of thirst to add value to the lives of others. And so my journey, you know, is right out of high school into college. I was always interested in personal development. I was interested in entrepreneurship. I read a lot of books and a lot of stuff, and I was just really hungry to get going with something in the startup world. This was back in 1997, 98, 99. I witnessed the dot-com era, dot-bomb era by day trading and being a day trader just for myself, and, and and did well in a relatively short amount of time, which I'm sure everybody did because it was just completely nonsense the way stocks were moving up and down those days.
Oh yeah.
But just the research and just sort of being exposed to these technology companies that were IPOing and understanding what they do was sort of, hey, sort of I was getting my mind sort of accustomed to what is this technology thing, and then soon after, I was after college and through college, I was a nightclub promoter, so I was always social. I leveraged college for the social aspect of it, not the knowledge aspect of it. And so that sort of passion for entertainment, for knowledge, for just connecting with people, led me to start my first company called Zipscene with my co-founder, Samir at the time. And he came out of Procter and Gamble, perfect background pedigree of corporate experience. I looked at myself as nothing but street experience, and just knowing how to connect with people and sell and put things together and ideas and that stuff. So we made a great team. We raised friends and family money. The idea at that time was more about taking all the bars and restaurants and around Cincinnati, Ohio, put them on a website, and then marketing it to everybody and getting the bars and restaurants to pay us. So that idea then started to snowball, and we started to get feedback from larger investors to say, okay, you're going to need a lot of money for this type of thing, so maybe you want to change your model a little bit. And so we had to pivot quite a bit, and to figure out what was going to best work. And then we finally ended up into a place where we ended up just finding the right place with restaurant chains, because we were going around and trying to figure out how do we, what do we build? What are we going to do? There's a lot of money at stake here,
Yeah.
and we've got to push through. So people talk about pivots. We created tornadoes because we just went around and around and around and tried to figure out something. So in 2009 to 2010, about 4 years even after we begun our journey, we ended up figuring out that working with large restaurant chains was where it was at, through leveraging mobile websites, and then that in itself has now led to the point where Zipscene is focused on large restaurant chains and helping them sort of leverage their data, to be more effective for their marketing. So it's a lot of data management related stuff. So it was that experience was just something that was beautiful, because a lot of ups and downs, a lot of moments of failure, but even in that, in 2010, that's when I wanted to move on to the next idea, which was in your space, T-shirts. So
Yeah.
I love T-shirts. I wear a T-shirt every single day. I wear a T-shirt and hoodie every day. I only have like 4 T-shirts, so I don't have to make decisions on what I have to wear.
Yeah.
So, but what we recognized when we started that company again was this need for people to express themselves. They do it through apparel in the physical world, but through social media, it was through status updates and tweets and all that kind of stuff. I was like, where is the convergence of this sort of immediacy and nature of people wanting to express themselves, digital to physical? And so we first, when we created Wearcast, first it was an app, and the application was very sort of modeled after the Twitter behavior of just typing some text in, but then when you hit design, it immediately took that text and turned it into a cool T-shirt, with the quote and stuff. And so it was an awesome idea at the time. I think we were onto something. We made a lot of mistakes by not having the right development team, the right talent in place, and so we went out there trying to launch something at South by Southwest, thinking that was going to be a big splash. Worst place to launch anything ever is South by Southwest.
Is it
And
really?
it's the worst place ever. Nobody on this audience program should ever do it because it is a waste of your time, your resources, just because you're putting something out in the world for the first time, getting people to react, but you don't know if it's going to work. It's better to actually have something working than go act like you're launching it. But guess what? It's already working. So that experience was very interesting to us. And then in that journey of Wearcast, we ended up changing that business model to something that was more B2B, where we.
You're all right.
Okay. So sorry. So that telephone threw me off. So we ended up having to change our business model in that company to something that was more B2B and gave small businesses, anybody that wanted to sell T-shirts, the ability to do it without the risk. No upfront costs, no inventory, no customer service, no fulfillment to deal with. Simple application that people embedded on their websites as an iframe, and their customers could pick a design, style, color, size, modify it a little bit, and buy it immediately, and it was shipped to their house.
Yeah.
So that model was attractive because there's so many people out there that want to sell shirts and T-shirts, but they don't have that accessibility to doing it. So that's what we were doing, was giving them accessibility. But by the time we kind of focused into a market, we focused in the music market, music festivals, and gave bands and music folks the ability to let their audiences buy something before they came to the show or after, as opposed to the merch that you're required to buy at the show, which can be pretty crappy and and very expensive. We wanted to create something, a different experience. But all in all, we realized that the application, again, was right, but some of the market and trying to, how to execute was starting to become a challenge. And by the time we figured out what the right model was, we ran out of cash. So we ended up, at the end of 2013, shutting the company down, and we decided to not take any more money, not raise any more money, but then just take time to heal and figure out what's next. So that's sort of in a nutshell, a little bit of the journey.
Nice. It's a pretty extensive journey. It seems like you came a long way, and your best days are ahead of you. But you said a phrase kind of towards the beginning. You said personal development. I want you to go into your personal development regimen, your books, your mentors, what podcasts you glean from, your YouTube video, viewership. Like what do you do to develop yourself personally?
So I'm constantly reading. I'm always looking for models, because the thing is that we develop ourselves by modeling others, modeling things that work, and also making sure that we don't model ourselves after things that don't work. And so, I read books that inspire me. Personal development can be the books I've read, starting with like the Master Key System, the Think and Grow Rich, the Napoleon Hills of the world. That gives you some level of basis. That's just more of an introduction into development of faith in yourself, development of the ability to set some goals, have a defined purpose, and channel all your energy into it. And they touch up on the subconscious mind, because that is where everything happens from there. And so I spent a lot of time sort of reading books like that. Also, you know, my thought process is also something of the nature by always looking to add value. So part of my personal development is just all about the more value you can create for others in a way that you can just give without necessarily worrying about how it's going to come back to you. That is the eternal way. That is the way that, if you operate from that, things come to you, and it just makes life a lot easier. And so, every day, I say to myself, and I condition myself to add as much value as I possibly can to other people's lives, whether it's through products, through services, to whatever way I can add value. Let me have the awareness and attention to be able to do so. And so, so in meditation, I meditate, which is part of personal development. Keeps you calm. Working out and exercising, that's part of personal development. You got to stay healthy. You got to be be able to be focused. And so that's that. Just having that ever got to be yearning to learn and be thirsty just to absorb from the best people. And a mentor, mentors are people that have done things that you aspire to do. So a mentor doesn't necessarily mean someone who's a billionaire, successful person, who's done something great. But, we have different types of mentors. Sometimes we get caught up in looking at people from a success standpoint and then emulating and taking advice from them for everything, Well, that's the biggest misconception out there, because if you don't look to somebody for the information that they know because they did it, then you're going to be setting yourself up for failure if you're asking for advice on something else that just was not relevant, but you muddied the water because you saw them successful in a different complete light, right? So a mentor can be anybody. It's more about, what do you want to do, where do you want to go, who else has been on that path or has achieved something, if not the same thing or similar, and how can you reach out to them and talk to them to say, hey, this is what I want to do. How can you help me? So
Yeah, definitely. That mentorship speaks huge in my realm, because when you're getting into a new business, you want to find somebody who's close to the top, or who's almost at the top in your space, and learn from them. They'll help you get past the mistakes you're going to make right off the bat, because you'll make mistakes, you'll lose money, you'll lose time, and if you can find somebody who's got past those mistakes already, you're going to be a step ahead of the game.
100%.
Oh yeah, so let's get into the T-shirt industry. So say there's a young kid, he's 15 years old, right?
Yeah.
It's J Dev. I want to be a T-shirt maker. What would you tell him off the bat?
First of all, I'd ask him why.
Yeah.
And not because of telling him not to do it, more because of, is he thinking about the T-shirt business in the right way? Why does he want to sell T-shirts? Is it because he thinks it's cool? Is it because he wants to make money? Is it because that he feels that the type of T-shirts he wants to do are for a market which can't afford T-shirts, so he wants to do it in some other clever way? What is the why behind getting into the T-shirt business? And that is actually a fundamental question that anybody in this audience should think about. When you want to do something, why do you want to do it? It's not what do you want to do, why do you want to do it? Because the why is going to give you purpose. The why is going to give you the drive, the reason. The why is going to give you the strength that when when you have an idea and someone shoots it down or tells you why it's not going to work, you don't stop right there. You say, okay, you know what? I revert to the why am I doing this? It's because of a vision I have. And so therefore, maybe it's not the idea that I've described in the way it is right now. I've got to change some things so it makes some sense. I got to change some things about it so I get the right result for that idea. But there's a bigger purpose of why that keeps that drive going. So that's what I'd ask the kids, why are you doing it? And then based on whatever the reason is, so he's got the drive, I would tell him to start using online tools. Start looking for ways to scale. You look for ways to leverage the Teesprings of the world and the Cafe Press of the world, or if Wearcast was around, the Wearcast of the world. Like get into the game in a way where you are focused in a place where you can get to create your product for really cheap and get it produced for next to nothing. And know that there are tools out there where you can not only create the shirt, but you can get it fulfilled for next to nothing, and see if you can just sell that. Sell it to more people. I would encourage somebody now is to think about doing things in a way that is small and you can test it, but do it also in a way which can allow you to scale in the future.
So you're saying, you're telling the kid not to go out and buy a whole bunch of machines and the inks and the screen print and all that.
It already exists. It already exists. There's already people out there who have those machines, who already have the inks, who already have stuff, and for them, you need to help them keep their machines on. You think of a way to add value to them, but then at the same time, sell the T-shirt with the slogans, sell the for whatever purpose, whatever the style, the color, all of it can be produced. What kind of T-shirt is it going to be? What's it going to look like? And are you selling it to your 15-year-old friends? Are you selling it to somebody else? Who are you selling it to? Guess what? Those tools are already online. So start there, leverage it.
Nice. That's some good advice. Because I always hear a lot of kids want to get into the T-shirt industry, but it might not work right away because it's a lot of stuff you got to buy to build it out. But like we spoke on before, I have an app that I developed. And excuse the phone, it's telemarketers probably, but
there should be an app for that too.
Is there?
No, there should be an app for that too.
Yeah, definitely, guys. So my app is called 24 RTs, and it's mainly based in the Bay Area, right? And what the app is, the workflow, you open up the app and you can upload a picture from your phone. And since I have the digital printing equipment, I can print a picture on a T-shirt. And what you could either select for me to deliver it in 24 hours, slow ship it for 5 or 6 days, or you can pick it up in my storefront. I need you, as being experienced in the T-shirt game, to try to poke holes into my thought process, into my pitch, so to say.
Okay, give me your pitch.
All right, so I have an app, 24 RTs. I'm not looking to raise any money, but I'm trying to figure out a way to get this into every iPhone in the Bay Area. Every iPhone, meaning 10 to 15,000 college kids in the Bay Area, high school kids, soccer moms. I need a way to get this across, meaning that I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time and money marketing it. I need to find either a marketing company, or should I go the guerrilla route and pass out flyers and handouts? What do you say should be my first approach?
So I would pick out, first of all, you want to think about the small market that you're going after. So by saying that you want it to be on every iPhone in the Bay Area, that's a large market. You're trying to cover all the Bay Area. That's pretty large. You want to go ahead and start thinking about like who's going to use this and why. College kids, why? What are they going to do with it? Are they taking pictures of things that they're having fun? Is it certain moments? What are they taking pictures of that they're going to be putting on the phone that's going to compel them to get the T-shirt? And especially from a standpoint of immediacy, and even almost a purchase regret. So there's differences, right? You're trying to get some people to capture the moment. You're capturing the moment from the soccer moms that are the reason why they're doing it is because they're capturing a moment of their kid or doing something that they care for, and so that's one thing. Are you having filters on this, like Instagramish, so you can actually do a variety of things?
Yes.
To making the images look cool and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so definitely recommend a lot of that because we thought about that back then, and it's definitely something you want to do. But I'd really get very focused on the user. I would take your app right now, and I would literally make multiple 4, 5 different buckets of who are these users and why would they use my product, and then you go ahead and talk to all those users and say, here's my product, here's what it will do, how would you use this? And start to understand how it would be used and why somebody would use it, would they be paying? Was the 24-hour feature more attractive? Is it the slow ship snail mail attractive, or is it the possibility of an Uber driver stopping over, picking it up from your place, and taking it up to to the person? What does that look like? And so I would model those things and sort of look at, okay, here are my three different scenarios that I can go for. The kind of people that I'm targeting are people that want it immediately right now because they want to wear the shirt tomorrow. There's something to be said about last-minute teas, because people have ideas for shirts, they wait too damn long, and come to the last moment, and they're like, shit, I need a shirt. Or they come up with ideas for the shirt way late. I mean, ideas for T-shirts come way later than a planning process for anything. It's a last-minute thing that shows up. Like, I need it too. Oh man, it would be great for us to have a T-shirt. We have a bachelor party. We have this going on. Oh man, we need to make a T-shirt. Well, how do you get the T-shirt? Well, we're going to overpay for it by doing this. But here we go. So it's trying to figure out, like, where are you going to fit in the mindset of the consumer, and making sure that you do nothing but do that. Like, if it's that one place, that's one thing, that's all you're doing. And you're just focusing on those psychological interactions between the time that people want it, they make the decision, and that's that.
Nice. So if I can regurgitate a little bit, you're telling me to niche down, find a particular niche. If it's soccer moms, say, hey, I got this app. You can take a picture of little Timmy as he's scoring a goal. You'll get a T-shirt tomorrow. Or if you're a college kid, he's drunk on the couch. You're drawing, sticking balls on his face. Take a picture of. You'll get the picture. You'll get the shirt tomorrow. And I should market to those particular niches. Am I picking it up right?
Yeah, and that too. Think about the photo quality, think about the print quality, think about, like, why is it that I want that? I mean, is it the fact that, the other thing could be is that, again, the soccer mom's taking a picture of the goal. You're depending on a lot of dependencies of them capturing these moments. There's a lot of moments, so which one are you really going to capture? If you start to boil down to even more than nitty-gritty and say, okay, you know what, maybe I'm going to do this. I'm going to focus on new parents, so they could be, and say, instead of it's a boy, it's a girl, they're going to make it's a boy, it's shirt, it's a girl's shirt, and they're going to take pictures of it, they're going to put the newborn on it because it's that nice way to capture it, and they're going to buy, T-shirts, though, like a spring thing for like 10, and for everybody's family, and everybody's going to love it because it's everybody, like, that's when all the endorphins in it, they're ready to pay for anything. It's their pride and joy now, right?
Yeah.
So focusing in a place where you think it's really going to happen. Like, what are they going to do? Again, because otherwise your dependency is on too many moments, and like, because there's so many moments you can potentially take a picture and you can do it. And it sounds great. Like, it sounds awesome. Even when you talk it out to somebody, they'll be like, oh yeah, I can see myself doing that. Would they really do it? Probably not. Do they really want to walk around with somebody's balls hanging out or something like that with wearing a T-shirt? No, they don't, because they're going to look like an idiot walking around with that shirt, right? It's funny, it's haha, but they're not going to want to do it, and nobody wants to wear that shirt. So
yeah.
Those use cases are interesting, and it's funny, in that moment. But when it comes down to commerce and actually purchasing it and thinking about, are they really going to wear that? That's the question to be asked. I got asked a lot of times from B2B customers and stuff. It's like, all right, what if my consumer I got my brand or my T-shirt, my design, and they personalize it and they put some cuss word, or they put something of profane or obscene or whatever. How do we solve for that? I was like, think about it real quick. The people that do that, they put it out there in space, and they don't really want to. It's in a place where it can disappear. When do you walk around seeing somebody wear something obscene, profane, of that can look like an idiot in society? Very few people. So the chances of it happening, and designing it on the interface could be pretty high. But would somebody buy it and actually walk around with it? Very, very low. So those are cases where you think about it, and you're like, you know what, yeah, it's a nice concern, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
No one's going to do that. So
nice. Well, no, thanks for the intel. So, what's JDev working on next? What's your plan for the future? What do you have on the stove right now?
Well, before I tell you what I'm going to do next, I think it's, you told me that they're looking for inspiration from other people on your show. And what I want to tell the audience is that, look, there's you know, if you're either doing something right now, great, keep doing it. If you aren't starting something right now, just start it. You have nothing to lose. You know, failure is nothing but a result that you didn't get, you know, based on what you expected that you wanted, and that's as simple as that. People, you know, so there's a whole thing about like you know, fear of failure. I'm going to go out there, and what if it doesn't work? You know, what are people going to say? And all that kind of stuff comes to mind, and it's so it's very fear driven. And what I say is, listen, you know what? If you have some passion, you have an idea, talk about it. Talk it about to a bunch of people. If you have a great idea and you think it's really great, and you're keeping it as a secret because you think it's a secret sauce and you want to be secretive about it, well, guess what? No one's going to find out about it, and chances are you're never going to do it. So talk about your idea, tell people so you can get feedback, tell them, and figure out how can they would use it. You know, does it make sense? Does it not make sense? And how is it going to make money? Is it really going to make money? Are people going to pay for it? These are questions that you just want to ask. But you know, if you're listening to this program, that's probably because Joseph adds value to your life. And so what I would say is do something. You know, the smallest thing is go put your idea out there. You know, everyone is a creative being. Everybody has it within them. Those who say that they're not creative, they're lying, because if you can put a t-shirt on your body, you know, and choose the color of it, you're being creative. You go, so that's one thing. And so moving forward, you know, I'm just thinking about what do I produce in the world that can add value to others. You know, what I'm passionate about is connecting people. You know, connecting people where I feel that there's mutual value to be extracted for both parties, and I feel like the world is ready for something that's going to allow that to happen in a much easier way. And so that's kind of what, you know, I've been thinking about, is how do I solve a problem around where people are very digitally connected, but we still in this physical world are sort of still walking around becoming more antisocial. But you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
what are ways that I can kind of combine the two, and even start in a digital manner, but come to the point where we can automate this stuff for people, you know, do it on their behalf, and help them, because some people are extroverts, other people are introverts. If you're not an extrovert, are you going to really learn how to network? No, you're going to be trying too hard. You know, everybody has a gift. You know, you got to do what you're good at. You got to do what you love. You got to do what you were designed for. And and so my thing is that everything that I've done in my journey to this point has been around this love to connect people. And so the next thing I'll do is something in the realm of being able to, you know, extend that to others.
Nice, 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 nice. Well, I just wanted to say thanks for the
Cool.
talk, thanks for the interview. Added plenty, definitely of value to me and the listeners as well. Any last parting words, famous quotes you want to get across before we close this up?
Yes. One of my favorite quotes is that those who need nothing attract everything. And that was a quote that I learned from Russell Simmons, and you know, that's something that he's put in his books. That's something that, you know, has resonated, and it's just this feeling of just the more you need something, the more you act like you need something, the more you're chasing something, it's going to run away from you. The more, you know, the more you just sort of comfortable with yourself and sort of be in a place where you really don't need much. You don't really need anything, but you really, all you want to do is give, 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 and give, and add value. That's when you start to see your world take a shift. And so that's what I would put the focus on.
Nice, nice. Well, thanks for taking the interview and signing out.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right.